and values. Catholic schools in the Diocese of Greensburg are growing a future of faith, excellence, and leadership. Discover more and schedule a private tour at CatholicSchoolsGuide.org.
The views and opinions presented by the host, guests, or callers on this program do not necessarily represent the positions of WMBS Radio.
Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone.
Well, thank you, TJ. Welcome to the Democratic Hour, the last Friday, guys, in January, soon to be February. And let's make a bold prediction. Groundhog Day. TJ, we'll start with you. Groundhog sees his shadow or not?
That rat will see its shadow.
Oh, that rat.
That rat. That's what I call it.
Oh, rat. All right, Doc, what's your prediction?
I think it's going to extend, and the cold is going to hang around.
Rich?
I am hoping for an early spring.
I'm like, so we got 2 and 2, right?
Yeah, I said, what did I say? He'll see it, yeah.
Oh, you called him a rat.
The rat will see it.
Oh, let me tell you what. No respect for a groundhog on a political
It's
show.
a rodent.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to find out here. It is Sunday, right?
Monday.
Tuesday.
Monday, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Monday.
Tuesday's
the
the second, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Monday is. Sunday's the first.
Second
It's
is
Monday.
Monday. No wonder he won't see his shadow.
That's right. He doesn't even know what day it is.
I can't see my shadow.
TJ, welcome back. We got the crew. Rich to my right, Doc to the left. TJ, we start the little show.
Always
Always.
music.
Always.
What do we got today?
Well, we got him back.
Is he going to see his shadow?
Oh, he's going to fly into Jimmy Stewart's airport up there. He's going to be with the groundhog. I'm going to tell you what, there'll be a lot of people up there.
There always is.
She's like a granddaughter to me. She graduated from IUP, and Katie made a couple trips up there. It's a fun event. When you get 30,000 people, if they're going to be out.
It's going to be a little nippy.
I do believe the governor was there last year, and I think Josh running this year, I would say that he'll probably be there. Well, we're
Weather
gonna
Channel
find-
was out there last year.
Yes. So it's a big day up in Punxsutawney for Groundhog Day. So again, welcome to Democratic Hour on WMBS 590 AM 101.1 FM. Guys, I know it's Friday, but there's so many things that went on since we were off the air. But I'm going to bring this up. It's and I shared this with Rich. I have a VA appointment coming up. And so I had to go back and look at some of my military records. And lo and behold, today, which I totally forgot, not about what happened, but it's actually anniversary, 58 years ago today, on the 30th of January in 1968, I was wounded in Vietnam. My sergeant was killed. And the last time the traveling wall was here at Penn State, I actually went out, and you could trace where he's at, and on the wall he's panel 35E, line row 71. And the reason I bring this up is currently what's going on around the country. And I thought, when that happened that night, I always think, why him and not me? What could have been me, and he would have been here today, or both of us would have never. I wouldn't have got wounded, and he wouldn't have got killed. And so it was ironic. 58 years ago that happened, and I'm one of the fortunate ones that came back, wounded. But we had 50 young men here in Fayette County never made it back. And why I'm leading this, and I'm thinking today. That was 58 years ago, coming back from Vietnam. There was demonstrations in the street and people protesting the war. And now here we are, like last Saturday, and Doc and Rich, you could jump in there anywhere, what happened in Minnesota. And so we got people today protesting, not stopping a war in Vietnam, but what's going on in this country. And it's not by D's and R's, it's what's right or wrong. There's something that has to stop. And we have to make it work, because what's going on now is not working. And I know Doc said something previous shows, and it's ironic. I made a phone call today, and I'm hoping they'll be on next Friday. I talked to the union that represents the plumbers and pipe fitters, the business agent. He couldn't be on today, but he lives there. They work there. Get the gut feeling what's going on, what they've been doing, because last Friday they had a no work, no school, no shopping day his take on what's going on in his hometown. Talking to his membership, what do they feel? What's the right or the wrong thing to say, or not say, but to do? So I'm hoping he'll be on next Friday, who somebody's been living and working there and getting their feel what is, what's going to happen, how we're going to correct the problem, because it seemed like it's not going away. Unfortunately, I think everybody's seen what happened to the, unfortunately, death of last Saturday. And Rich and Doc, jump in here anytime, anything, and I'm going to play something here while you're making some comments.
Well, they changed the head guy, got rid of Bovino, brought in Homan. I don't know if that's going to make much of a difference at all. It's, Homan's been, he and the other people in the White House, he's one of the leaders of this. I don't think he's going to change. And he said they were going to reduce the number of Border Patrol and ICE people out there. And then President Trump comes on last night and he contradicts him.
Right. And Homan just, you have one person with a little bigger title, but still a rubber stamp for what the other guy, other members of the gang say, right?
The gentleman, I call him a gentleman, who got killed on the streets of Minneapolis. And here they put their political spin out immediately on, right? Immediately.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
Total analysis of the situation.
He was there to do harm, more or less to kill, ICE agents.
And, it could be a massacre of agents. Yeah.
And immediately, right? That's what they did. And again, they'll continue to do that. But now here's the guy that's in charge that went up there, right? Doc, did you forget what happened to him? When he was accused of taking $50,000 in cash
in a brown bag.
Except it hasn't been accounted for yet.
No.
We're still looking for it.
I think he's going to find his other $50,000 while he's up there. Think about that. Here's the guy's in charge, right? And it's a fact. He took the $50,000, right?
They got it on tape. FBI agents were handing it to him, and the president dismissed the investigation.
Getting back from what I said 58 years ago, coming home and seeing demonstrations, what happened at Kent State University, people were irate with Jane Fonda. I think she went to Hanoi at the time. Hanoi Hilton. And but again, here we are, 58 years later, we're talking about things happen in America. And it's, like you said, something got to change. And I know about a year ago, I talked to somebody near and dear to me this morning, and we talked about how to resolve the problem. And one of them was, sure, there is an immigration problem. It'll continue to be an immigration problem, but they had a agreement between the D's and the R's in the Senate, and guess who canceled that little agreement, right, Doc?
He ignored it.
He made a phone call. The President of the United States made a phone call, and that was it.
On the impressive thing, and this is what upsetting to me, is the teaching since the Dark Ages in politics says, if you tell a whopper, and the rule should be, it's got to be a whopper.
It's a whopper.
So you have to tell the whopper, rule 1. Rule 2, you repeat it as many times as possible. Then two things happen. More people, as time passes, doing that, the number that believe that occurred will keep expanding, and the other group that would say it's probably not true, it doesn't stand up, they don't increase in numbers. They fade out and stop arguing against it. But the only defense you have to that is to get the handle on the truth and keep repeating that more and more. If they're going to show up 6 times per day, and they do, but the upsetting part is that the brilliant people that have the podcasts, James Carville, Al Hunt, Matt Maddow, and they have research people behind them, and the upsetting part is that they themselves are now saying and agreeing with, of course, in the immigration, is that all of that occurred because of open arms by Biden.
Right.
Okay. Let's say, is there an answer to that? That's way off base, and I'm upset with them for not knowing that it was late September. They had the bill, the bipartisan bill that changed things back, that fixed things in 40 years of the immigration policy. Correct? They had the bill. Standby runner to take it up to the Senate in the afternoon, get it signed, and Biden was waiting to stamp it, and it would have been law. And that by lunchtime and within an hour or two, Trump personally
Put a
called
call in.
6-8 senators and said, I have to have that bill fail, not get signed, because I need that for the election that was coming up in a month or two.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
Well, it's true. And,
But these people, the experts that have the research people, they repeat the thing that, Biden and his open arms. Baloney open arms. They had the bill worked out.
and we've talked about this so many times, and then I'll be out. Obviously, people know that I'm chairman of the party. And they'll say, well, the Democratic Party left me. No, the Democratic Party never left you. You left the Democratic Party. And and when I get back to, in the 60s and coming home and finally, where am I going to go? Where am I going to work? And they chose me to Plumbers and Paper. The reason I say that, I remember sitting there talking to my father about democratic values, what they had to fight for, and what the Democratic Party stood for, in about labor unions and right to organize and everything we have today. And I tell somebody,
each year expanded the middle class.
Right,
More
and then all of
that
a sudden now
could realize the American dream.
So here I am, 78 years old, been on Social Security since '62, and thank the good Lord that somebody was out there thinking about Social Security, because in this day and age, you'd never have Social Security with the people we have in office now. We got a congressman it's been in there 10 years with election coming up. We've seen him twice in 10 years. Have any comments from him about what's going on with ICE? No, nothing. When they wanted to close a mine, the possibility of closing a mine down, he was talking about naming an airport after the current president of the United States. But that's upsetting. When I mention OSHA, MSHA, workers' comp, unemployment, pension programs, everything that benefits the working class, including just not Democrats, everybody. Look at Medicare. Thank the good Lord we have Medicare. And I tell people that you're going there now, and it was the Democratic Party that
wouldn't exist, and they took battles when they only had a window of a majority in the House or a majority in they had to be squeezed in those little windows when we had a
and we all know that right here in the county. We have people register to vote. And I heard, getting back to what's going on in Minnesota, I heard this week on John's show, he had a candidates running against Pat Stefano, okay? And one of his biggest issues was if he gets elected, he wants to abolish Act 77. It was a Republican bill.
To put it in.
To put it in. The compromise was, the compromise when the Republicans and Democrats, that once Act 77 was passed and signed into law, neither party could vote a straight ticket. You couldn't go in there and just hit one and vote for all D's or all R's. So here's the thing, guys. And you're going to sit here and say there's like 8,000 individuals who vote by mail, and you're going to tell them now you don't want them to vote by mail? You're going to tell those veterans who can't come to polling precinct or somebody's sick, it's convenient, and you're going to tell right now that you're running for office because you want to eliminate Act 77. It benefits everybody here in the county.
Right.
And you have an opportunity to get that ballot. You know, up to the date you have to send it in. You can research everybody that's on the ballot. When you go to the polling precincts, a lot of people will be the first time they see the ballot, and they're going to go in there and vote. So like I said, there's a lot of things I'm going to talk about next week because there's some things that John's continuously talk about, and heavens knows they'll bring something up this week. But John, take some phone calls. Scott, I have a couple things I will call you out for what you said in this past election season, and I'm going to. There are going to be words exactly what you said. I'm going to call you, and I want everybody to listen what I have to say. But getting back to last Saturday, and it'll continue. These demonstrations throughout the country, and I want to thank our girls, Fayette County Democratic women. They were criticized. This March, there'll be 1 year since they started organizing, and I think March will be maybe another big No Kings rally throughout the country.
And now they're the largest Democratic women's organization in the state. And they're growing.
And so, like I said, the Democratic Party's not dead here in the county.
No.
And I have Republican friends, and the people got to realize, and they go in there to vote, they're looking what are we getting from our legislators? We got nothing, but they take credit for every grant which they voted against, right? And they'll continue to do that. I just said, tell us something. They've been dead quiet on what's going on in Minnesota.
That was the point I was just going to bring up. You look at what's happened in Minneapolis. Governor Shapiro was on cable news this week saying that he expects, or he would not be surprised, that if ICE shows up in Pennsylvania. Now, if they show up in Pennsylvania, what are the MAGA people going to do? I haven't heard word one from the MAGA people on Minneapolis. What are they going to do?
And we all agree that the worst of the worst shouldn't be in this country. I mean, that's a
Absolutely.
given. There's people been here, and that's why the system got to be fixed. There's people been waiting through the whole due process. They came here legally.
Yeah, but in Minneapolis and Chicago, L.A., every place else, they're not arresting the worst of the worst. I mean, they're just hoarding up people to try to have 300 people a day or 3,000 people a day that they could say, oh, yeah, Mr. President, we rounded up 300 people. They don't even throw them in jail. They drive them around and let them loose again.
I got something I want to play, but go ahead, Doc, till I get this, and Rich, if this will come up. There was an old song. It's by Buffalo Springfield. And, of course, this was one of the 60s or 70s songs. And, of course, back then, there was another song. A Change Is Going to Come, and that was by Sam Cooke during the Civil Rights era. But this one here, if I get this to work, and we're going to see, TJ, if it works. Knowing me, it probably won't work. But
lines being drawn, and nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds are getting so much resistance from behind. Stop! What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
so that's what was going down, and that's what people. And then,
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you're not going to fix a problem unless you have discussions.
and you're right, and that's what we need here. We've been begging for our legislators to have a town hall meeting, right? Nothing. And of course, look, and I can understand why some of them don't want one. You've seen what happened to our Congress lady from Minnesota,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Got sprayed with a syringe of some kind of
Vinegar.
or some kind of substance.
Yeah, that happened. But again, our telephone number is 724-438-4593. And I also talked to the Bureau of Elections this week, and I always say they do an outstanding job because we have a primary coming in May. We also have, will be on a ballot. Anybody's interested in being a committee man or woman here in the county for the Democratic Party, same way with the Republican Party. So if anybody's interested and want to run for a committee person, they could give me a call. It's 412-554-1917. So we're going to have a busy primary. Of course, we got Josh Shapiro, Austin Davis running for governor, lieutenant governor. And, of course, last week we had Alan Bradstock on WMBS, and we want to thank Alan for coming on. And again, we got a caller on the line, T.
We do.
We're going to see what we got here.
Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who we speaking to?
Yes, this is James. Afternoon, guys.
Hey, James. How are you?
Good. Real quick, just wanted to go over something that you hit. The hatred that's going on in this country. I'm listening to the radio station because I'm in today because of the weather. And you have people saying the same thing. There are people that are seeing this and commenting on it and saying the country's divided. I totally agree. And people will say, well, it was just the same as back in the 60s. No, it's different. It's different. This is a different go-around. And you have people that Reagan talked about trickle-down economics. You have trickle-down mega. And you have people here that will come on an hour after you, and I've listened to his program. The words out of his own mouth. I don't go by anything else. I don't go by hearsay. I go by the words out of his mouth. And the words out of his mouth and people that are on his program, and one of them being a pastor and the other running for office, and then the clique that's behind them, it's hatred. Now, to explain this real quick to you, break it down, then I have a question for you. They hate the Democrats. Hate them. Hate them to the fact of the pastor says the Democrats are going to hell. It's not what I read in the Bible. The thief on the cross wasn't asked, are you an independent, Republican, or Democrat? But this is what the pastor says. The hatred of those who are not like me. They don't look like me. They don't speak the language. I hate them. Hatred of anybody that stands against us. They called the person from Bucks County called a radio host reaming her out because she said some things that didn't align with them. That's hatred. Hatred for fellow Republicans. Hatred for Pat Stefano. Hatred for Ryan Warner. Hatred for the Republican Party. Hatred, hatred, hatred. And it all started when he came down the escalator. This is revenge. This isn't a remorse or wanting to sit down. This is revenge, and this is what these people feed on. And what gets me is they want to go in office, and you've said it, and you're correct. When these people go into office, you got to work with people. You got to give and take. You got to sit down and pick your battles and sit down and get the stuff done. Whether it's in business or whether it's in office, you have to do that. Can you imagine these people, the MAGA Republicans from Fayette County, getting into office? All they're going to do is create more chaos and hatred and anger. And you see how it is with the commissioners. They hate the commissioners. One guy has been in there, I don't even know if he's been in there a year. Who cares? We hate him too. We hate anybody that's on a board that has anything to do with the election bureau. We hate them. It's just hatred after hatred after hatred. And these people need to be called out about it. And there's a thing that's going on real quick with the state. It's called No Hate in the State. And you go online and you do that. This is so bad that they're doing this. You're right. They're having these conferences. And if there's ever a conference that comes to this area, I am paying the way for those three on that radio station. I will pick them up and take them there. Because if there's anybody that needs to go to these No Hate in the State rallies, it's those three that come on after you. But one last question, maybe Rich knows this. I'm hearing about Gaza. Over $214 billion has been promised to this project. It's going to trying to make this look like Las Vegas. And Jared Kushner's in on this. They're all making money.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
Has anybody heard, I could have swore that they have said that the United States has promised $60 billion.
I don't know if it was $60 billion, but it's up there. It's a lot of money.
But because they said they're going to give so much money up front and then so much money later on. Now this is billions. They walk around proudly with their red MAGA hat. It doesn't stand for make Gaza great again, does it?
No.
I mean, where is this money going? He ran on no wars, not putting anybody into harm's way, and making America great again. But all I hear is money going to Gaza, money in Venezuela, money in Greenland. Is anybody else paying attention to this?
Well, Donald Trump and his organization, his two sons, just sued the U.S. government this week.
$750 they paid, Rich?
Yeah. I know I paid more than $750 that year.
Listen, and what you know what that smart Alex comment was one time, if you go back, he said, well, I have good accountants.
Yeah.
I have good accountants.
What did
That's
he
what his
say
comment.
once we'll release him? We haven't seen him yet, right?
Well,
Yeah.
he's suing because his tax returns were released.
James, one other comment you made about Bureau of Elections. How about what they just did in Georgia?
It's again. This is I
If it
called
happened in
it.
Georgia,
what
it could happen here in Fayette County.
Yeah,
And-
exactly. And it's the Revenge Tour 24 is what it is.
Retribution, yeah. Retribution and revenge.
well, James, we're going to grab another
Exactly.
call. We appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Stay
Stay
warm.
warm.
Okay, next call. Oh, look at that. They just left.
Tell them to call us back at 438-4593. We had a little malfunction here, but nobody got hurt. The only one to be on workers' comp is TJ anyway, right?
That's right.
And again, that was James. James always brings up some excellent points. You know, and he brought out here locally with the show after us. And I've said this many times. And Rich, when Sean was running, John, you do a show, take some phone calls. I mean, you stand behind the mic, you say all the things, but take some phone calls. You're going to do this and you're going to do that, but no phone calls, right? None whatsoever.
Well, he takes some phone calls from people he wants to have on the air.
Yeah,
That's about it.
That's about it. But like James said, it's with everything that's going on, it's a retribution. And he said that many times what he was going to do, right?
Well, it's pretty obvious that he has more than a bone to pick against the commissioners. I mean,
Yeah.
he started out one of his programs earlier this week after the snowfall, and he praised the judges for making the decision to close the courthouse. It wasn't the judges; it was the county commissioners. He even has a press release with his
two Republicans,
recorder of
one
deeds.
Democrat. John, and you're a registered Republican, right? So you can't even tell the truth about why the courthouse was closed, right? Unreal. We got a caller on the line, and we're going to see if this works this time.
Oh, it'll work.
Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who we speaking to?
How you doing, Pete?
Hey, Pete, how are you?
Well, pretty good. I was listening to your program.
Well, thank you, Pete.
I wanted to express my opinion of what I'm seeing going on. I'm
Please.
seeing from this president nothing but hate. It's trying to divide the country even worse than he has been dividing it. And I listened to a general yesterday. He was he commanded American troops in Europe, and he's worried about the way this president has trashed our allies, has talked about them doing nothing for us, and not sending any troops. The way he talked was they didn't sacrifice no life,
Yeah.
troops, their troops, and that way he trashed, he trashed
Yeah,
it.
NATO
But
countries.
what I seen was, I've seen all kind of generals on there and admirals, ambassadors, all saying that this president is dangerous, that he should have never been elected, and they had warned about electing him, and yet the American people did not pay attention. And I just don't understand it, and I'm worried. And this president here he does nothing but praise Putin. He praises Orban from Hungary and the guy from Turkey, and so he's leaning towards autocracy. And I don't understand why American people ain't seeing that. Why they ain't waking up and seeing it.
Well, Pete, you said it. I've listened to many times you've called this show, and we've called him out on it. And I'm saying, just imagine if Joe Biden would say some of the things that this current president, they would be going irate throughout the country. But getting back, Pete, when he made those comments when he was overseas, and then he was corrected, but he didn't apologize for those individuals who lost their lives in Afghanistan or Iraq or NATO allies, And they mention how many people were killed. But that's the kind of individual this man is. Like you said, he has no remorse. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care at all. Even his Secretary of Defense from Uniontown, Mark Esper.
Yeah, Mark Esper.
He even warned about how dangerous this president was.
Right.
And don't the people of Uniontown or Fayette County Don't they hear this? Don't they hear these things?
Well, Pete, let me say this. I'm gonna say it, and I've said it many times. Yes, he got X amount of votes. Our candidate, Kamala Harris, got X amount of votes. But I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it again. They weren't going to vote for a woman in this country and a minority in this country, and that's what it came down to. So they can look in a mirror and say this country's better off with Donald Trump. No way.
Right. I agree with you 100%. That's probably why the Democratic Party didn't win. Although I do believe she would have made a great president. I believe she would have made a good president. At least we wouldn't be so divided and ready to explode. That general was on there yesterday saying, right now we're a ruptured country and we're ready to explode. And once we do, it's going to be chaos. It's not going to be the North and the South. It's going to be, I don't know if it'll be red states against blue states or what it'll be, but it'll be, according to him, it'll be total anarchy.
Well, just like I said with Georgia, he goes down, the FBI goes in and gets voter information, right? He loses election. He calls the Secretary of the State in Georgia, right? He won 11,780 votes. They were counted 3 times, the court, and here he is, so he gets what he wants, right? What are they going to do with him? What are they going to dream up, right?
You know what? One of the things. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, one of the things.
Go ahead.
One of the things that got me with Tulsi Gabbard being down there. I mean, she's head of national security, and you know, if you recall back in the election, one of the things she was saying was Venezuela was interfering in counting votes for Biden instead of Trump. And now we got the U.S. going in and taking over Venezuela. So, like, it's going to be interesting to try to connect the dots there.
Well, Pete, we're going to grab another call. We appreciate your comments, and thank you for your service, Pete.
The connecting line, the dotted line goes to what can we cook up tomorrow that will get the full attention of the media, that will run into the quotes and have all of these things going on. So forget about it. And where does the files go to Epstein, all the way down to the bottom list, not even mentioned.
And where's the Epstein files, right?
Yeah, down at the bottom. Kept moving in the bottom of that list. So we got 10 other things to talk about, really.
TJ, we have a caller?
We do. Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who are we speaking to?
Hi, it's Mark from Plainville. Yeah, I was like, you know, why you didn't ever mention like all the things that are like great again? Like,
what name one, Mark? I know you call in, you like to agitate a little bit. Name one thing, Mark. What's good here in Fayette County? What's this president done to make your life better?
Chicken eggs. I like cheap gas prices. I like everything. You name it. I like seeing millions of people's lives saved.
Where are they saving lives at?
In America, the drugs, fentanyl, cocaine.
When was the last time you went to the grocery store?
I like the programs Joel's coming out with, too.
Okay, when was the last time you went to the grocery store?
I go all the time, like 3 times a week.
Okay, and you don't see the prices going up?
No.
Well, you must be shopping nowhere nobody else shops then.
Like, I'm buying chicken and stuff like that. I know beef stuff, but like that's something that they have to regrab the herds because they had you know, as far as that goes.
You think the farmers are doing well under this administration? What about the soybeans? What happened there, Pete? I got Pete, but was our previous Mark. What happened to soybean?
Well, they had bad crops.
No. China wasn't buying them from the U.S. That's what killed the soybean market this year.
Was turned off whenever Trump threw on the tariffs, and they just turned to try to sell them, and they got stuck with them, spoiling. Really.
Mark, what did you pay for gas? Do you see any gas here? It's supposed to be so cheap. He claimed it was under $2 a gallon. There's nowhere in the country that I'm aware of if it's under $2 a gallon.
Well, my daughter's paying $2.25.
Where's she live at?
In Ohio.
Well, price of gas in Ohio is $2.25.
At this one station, it's like at the West Virginia border between like East Liverpool and East Liverpool. And,
So, Mark, you have no problem what's going on in Minnesota whatsoever with ICE?
no, I mean, if the Democrats would, and of course you got the Waltz guy and the governor and the mayor debating and if they would just let the ICE take the worst prisoners just to begin with the worst crimes, and this guy with this last guy, he was paid from the Chinese people.
You know,
he was paid, yeah. Well,
Mark, let me say this. We're going to grab another caller. If you truly believe those individuals are paid, Mark, best thing I can do, listen and call the next show. Oh, that's right. He won't take a call. All right, Mark, we appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Okay, we have another call.
Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who are we speaking to?
Hi, this is your sister,
Hey,
Sophia.
sister, what's up, girl?
I just want to know, who are you going to believe? The Trump administration or your lying guys?
I think the Eagles had the song about the lying guys.
Yeah, exactly. Don't believe what you see. Believe what I tell you.
Yeah.
And Mark, for your information, the presidents have no control over the price of eggs when there's avian flu out there. So the fact that eggs are cheaper has nothing to do with the Trump administration.
No.
Just so you know that. But the beef, that had to do with the Trump administration. That's why the prices are up.
Yeah.
But, George,
Yes.
not only did the FBI go ahead and with a warrant to Georgia to take all the ballots and information from the 2020 election. Is this not 2026?
Yes. That was 5 years ago,
Okay.
the election.
But everybody overlooks the one thing. Do you remember? Did you read the letter that Pam Bondi sent to the governor of Minnesota about what it would take to get those Border Patrol and ICE agents out of their state?
Yeah, what's the voting records?
Voting records.
Voting records. What does that have to do with immigration?
Yeah, and the thing too about Georgia, and I may be wrong on this, but I've heard it several times and I've read it. There's a 5-year statute limitation on that law. We're beyond the 5-year statute, so maybe the state of Georgia can go in and say, "Hey, why are you doing this? Statute limita- I don't care what you find. Statute limitations has expired."
Yes.
You know,
You
the
can't
law
accept
does not
plain and simple he
pertain-
lost the election. It was stolen,
No,
right?
and the law does not pertain to this administration. We should know that.
Oh, absolutely.
There's state
But
laws
here-
and federal. They have, like you said, is state law.
Huck, you want to talk about misinformation? There was an article in today's paper. I will not read the lady's name that wrote this, but she wrote 2 sentences and I quit reading. She blamed everything that's happening on the Democratic Party with everything. They're always wrong and the Republicans are right. But this is what she said. The violent protests taking place in Minnesota right now, okay? And the peaceful protests in Washington, D.C. on January 6th were infiltrated by activists whose role it was to create that violence.
I guess she forgot about the Proud Boys, right? White supremacists.
But I'm sorry. Did you see violent protests in Minnesota?
No.
I don't know which one she's referring to. But the whole point is when you have someone like that has an article in the paper, she's syndicated, that says that the January 6th was peaceful, but it was just paid protesters and people in there that made it chaotic.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, sister, look
like I
what's
said-
going on with the committee with Jordan, right? In D.C., these guys forgot where they were in January.
Jim Jordan?
Yeah,
Oh,
Jim
yes,
Jordan.
yes, absolutely.
And a Democrat called him out. This is what we're going to reference. Okay, he's going to call out Doc, and I don't mean you personally. He's going to say, this was what Doc said. This is what you said today and the day after and the day after. Now all of a sudden you have amnesia, right? These are your words, right? They were in there to hang the Vice President of the United States.
Right.
They were nonviolent, right?
But, the whole thing with Minnesota is an easy solution. First of all, that Bovino, that man was given too much power to start with, and his attitudes towards things.
Oh, yeah,
is
he was
just
too much of an ego.
Well, he had an ego.
And then you have that small Stephen Miller with his
Yeah.
evil. He is probably one of the most evil people in this administration.
And Corey Lewandowski.
Why can't you just remove some of these people? The state and the prisons are working. If they have someone in there and they have a violation and they're in this country illegally, Minnesota will release those to ICE custody.
Right.
Now, local, there's a whole different set of rules for people like that. But, Huck, show me the worst of the worst.
Yeah, where they at?
And
Show
you
us.
need to tell me, when you drag a man, a citizen of the United States, out of his house in the middle of the night with no clothes on and a blanket around him, drive him around and bring him back home and throw him back in his house and don't explain anything. And nobody sees anything wrong with that. When you drag a lady out of her car and have him on the ground, nobody sees anything wrong with this. There's a right way and a wrong way, and everybody agrees that there was a problem with immigration. But what about all the people? We couldn't even get those kids, those DACA people, a path to citizenship. And what Doc said, there was a solution.
Might not
but
be the
Trump
best if
didn't
they
like
had
it.
one.
I mean,
Because you know why, Huck, Trump didn't want that? Because he could not be on this retribution tour.
Right.
That's why.
There's one thing about the Minneapolis death with Alex Petrie. It started out with the one woman there who was pushed into the snowbank by one of those guys, and he went to help her. Now, if my sister, my mother, girlfriend, a female friend of mine, and I saw that happening to them, or anybody, if I saw that happening to any woman, God Almighty, I'd go and try to offer some help.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, I don't care whether he was stupid to bring a gun or not bring a gun. You don't.
He was allowed. He had a license.
He had a license.
I know that. I know that was absolutely legal, but people were saying it was bad judgment on his part.
According to administration, he had no right to have one.
They said more than that. They said he had the gun out and threatened them, and it had been taken away before they fired their shots.
Well, they can't.
It's
They can't
impossible.
tell that. Wait, Doc, but they can't tell that lie anymore.
No.
But the whole thing is, when you have someone down on the ground, you've already pepper sprayed them. Remind you, they pepper sprayed him also. You had him down, you had the gun removed, and you shoot somebody in the back.
Yeah.
And Kristi Noem needs to go. She definitely needs to. If she should be impeached, number one, because when you tell blatant lies
Right, they were blatant.
right off the bat and call somebody a terrorist, and you have no proof of anything, she needs to go.
Don't even have their name. And we're,
Yeah, they won't even release the names of the two agents who fired the shots.
Do you know that gentleman that the gentleman that just got killed? I'm
Petrie?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, his family found out that he was dead from an Associated Press reporter
Right.
before the administration called to tell them.
Well,
Now, how would you like to find out that way? This is the kind. But like I said, this would be an easy solution. Take your troop, your, and that's the other thing, Huck. These people have not been trained. Do you know that if you belong to any kind of police prior to being a border agent or, an ICE patrol person, your training is only 4 weeks. If you have no training at all and no background, it's only 8 weeks training. And do you know some of those people have been out there for 8 months already?
Yeah.
Well, sister, we're going to let you wrap it up because we're going to sign off. We're going to ask you the question: is the groundhog going to see its shadow or not?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, absolutely. So we got absolutely. All right, sister.
And you know what? It doesn't matter whether he sees it or not. We're going to have to live through February anyway.
Absolutely. Thank you, sister. We appreciate it. We appreciate James and Matt and Mark. We'll agree to disagree, but again, it's the Democratic hour. TJ, you got anything going? You're doing the high school tonight, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Doc, thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
Rich, we'll be back next week on the Democratic hour. And guys and girls, You know, we brought up some things. Give your local legislators a call. Give your congressman a call. Let him know how you feel. Either way. But again, you may not hear from him because we haven't seen him either. So again, we'll be back here the first Friday in February. And we'll keep it up. It's Democratic Hour. We're going to take it to the streets. Thanks, TJ. We'll catch you next Friday.
They shouldn't be upset if the ground, when they check the Punxsutawney ground, when they check and find out he ran off to the casino with a lottery groundhog.
Well, that's right. Never thought about that.
You have been listening to the Democratic Radio Hour, heard every Friday at 3:15, right here on 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS.